Good morning, everybody. We're playing some jeskai Nahiri today. It's kind of got a lot of interesting ideas here, right? So, kind of started last week. We were playing this Bant Stoneblade deck, which I did like, and we will return to. We were playing this Bant Stoneblade deck that's playing Prismatic Ending and then Sanctum Prelate, so you can Sanctum Prelate on one, which is pretty good right now. And then you can still Prismatic X equals 2 on any 1-mana creatures, which is pretty cool. And so this is kind of like the same idea. We saw Musy, MTGO user Musy, and Twitter user doing kind of a similar thing in blue-white control. And we're trying it out kind of in like this jeskai shell, where I kind of feel like maybe Nahiri is good at the moment. We're really just testing it out. But there's a lot of red decks. There's a lot of there's a lot of Dragon Rage's Channelers and Ragavans and Lightning Bolts, and Nahiri having so much loyalty, I think makes it a good option. And exiling artifacts, enchantments, creatures, very relevant at the moment as well. This can come down to exile Urza Saga. It's also true that Fire Ice is an upgrade for Nahiri, where you can tap their permanent and then exile it. So we're playing 3 of those. Could maybe be playing 4. And then Rip Apart I also think is pretty good in the Urza Saga world. Doc Prof, thank you for your 16 months. Appreciate you. And it's also not a 1-mana removal spell in your Chalice of the Void deck. And I think Chalice is good at the moment too. So that's kind of like the general idea. This is, I think, a really good first draft of this idea. But I haven't actually play tested this one yet. Ragu, Monkey Thief, that's awesome. Sanct over Ariok? Yeah, Sanctifier is like insane against the Rakdos deck. It's also people make that comment a lot. Sanctifier over Ariok. They do very different things. Those two cards do really different things. One is like an anti-aggro card, and one is like an anti-dredge card / Kroxa, Dragon Rage's Channeler. It's a graveyard hate spell. One's a life gain spell, one's a graveyard hate spell. They're really different cards. I went 5 and 3 in the tournament. Wheels kind of fell off a little bit. That's okay. Can't win them all. Looks like we are playing against the Rakdos deck. And definitely I feel like that if you're going to be playing, a deck like this, you have to have a good Rakdos matchup. So let's hope that we do. I didn't play any mirrors. No, sorry, I did play one tournament, one mirror. I lost to Big Win Sauce in the last round, who was also playing the Rakdos deck, and then looks like they're maybe playing Mardu Shadow. We lost to Mardu Shadow as well. Mardu Shadow confirmed. Yeah, the Mardu Shadow game was tough, but it was a good match at least. That's all you can ever hope for, right? A good match. Dude, Dashing Ragavan is sick here. No, we don't have a lot of sorcery-based removal, but we do have 4 Chalice of the Voids in our deck, which are very good against my opponent's deck. And Ragavan has pilfered it. They stole it from me. I'm doing well, Cole. How you doing? They know I have this Verdict, but they don't know I have the 4th land. Alright, pass him back. No, they're casting Chalice on 0? Aren't they a Mishra's Bauble deck? And they know about my Verdict. Okay, weird. The 2 lines I feel like they probably shouldn't have taken, to be honest. What's the reasoning to use Nahiri as the win con? I thought Shark Typhoon was pretty good. I feel like Shark Typhoon's not as good in like this is a very like cheap 1-2 mana creature metagame, where Shark Typhoon usually does not shine very much in these kind of metagames. And the idea is that Nahiri has a lot of loyalty and is pretty good against decks like our opponents. And Nahiri, like, just exiling artifacts, enchantments, creatures is in theory pretty good. Also, Fire Ice is an upgrade for Nahiri, where you can tap a permanent and then exile it as well, which is interesting to try. But we're mostly just trying it out. It is possible that the like Chalice of the Void control shell is good, but just Nahiri is not the right card to play. I have a couple of other different shells with this idea brewed up that we might transition to. We'll see. So they're not attacking Teferi, so they don't have Bolt, I'm assuming. No, my Emrakul. Okay, and here you got a bit worse, huh? Or Core converting Prime Gaming to tier 1. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate ya. I don't know why that one doesn't ever notify. All right, here's a bit worse. Have to win with Teferi emblem now, right? Oh, we have one Jace. We have one Jace, I think. Yeah, we do. That's fine though. Nahiri's still gonna be a powerful 4-mana planeswalker. Just a bit worse, huh? But it doesn't have Delirium for Unholy Heat, notably. We lost to Marty Shadow in the challenge over the weekend. I feel like the deck's pretty good. Hey, Musi, good morning. Yeah, we're talking about you again, yeah. Have you been playing any more of the deck? You have any like innovations to share with us? I mean, that Chalice on 0 is just actively good for us. I'm gonna pass back. Bounce Chalice. Well, Teferi tucks Chalice, not bouncing. Oh, bounce Chalice with the Cryptic. Yeah, that was good. That was a good line. Better line. Proof 4 months. Love you too, buddy. Welcome back. Mardu may be good, but is it as cool as Esper? No, nothing is as cool as Esper Shadow, unfortunately. I think that's fine. Just because our Ragavan exiled our Emrakul, so most games we would be just winning right now. Instead, what I'm going to do is ice the Scourge and just minus Nahiri on it. Because, you know, Nahiri's, you know, that's really all it's going to get to do. I'm going to let this go. Our Emrakul is gone. Our Nahiri is not super high value anymore. This is fine. Nahiri also just has a ton of loyalty. Yeah, they really shouldn't have bolted Nahiri. They knew the Emrakul is exiled. That was, I think, Pontaru there. Let's have Jace not die to bolt. Keep that on top, but they can shuffle. Steal. Yeah, is there any mod in the chat that could maybe make a command for the fact that Twitch is having problems today, that we can just, like, if someone goes, the stream's dying, we can, you know, do the command and people will know the stream's not dying. Are they really not playing Bobble? Put Luris in their hand. I mean, I feel like they should probably infer I only have one in their deck, but I guess I understand maybe being a bit fearful. Alright, they pack it up. Alright, so I want these cards. I don't want the Force of Negations. Kind of don't want the Jace. I mean, the first Jace is probably fine. One frustrating thing with the deck is, like, this is what the curve looks like. And then when I'm trying to, like, look at the curve during sideboarding, I can't sort by mana value. It's like something like this. Maybe Explosives is a bit more of like a 3 or 4 drop. You need to cut 2 of these spells. Kind of feel like they're just cut the Cryptics. Maybe play 1 Cryptic. Virus is pretty good against the Ragavan Darcy deck. Maybe cut the 4th Counterspell. Is Journey to Nowhere and Straight White Helix or part Great Jeskai? Yeah. Journey to Nowhere is interesting in blue white. I feel like I would just be playing more verdicts though. I'm gonna keep this. I feel like in blue white I would just be on Verdict Prismo, like Teferi Time Raveler as my creature removal. Chalice usually on 1. Yeah, Chalice on 1 is pretty good in the format, and this deck, you know, doesn't play 1-drops or doesn't play true 1-drops because you can Prismatic Ending on a just higher mana value to get around Chalice. Yeah, main deck Verdict is pretty good, I agree. Yeah, what about Suspend? Spike, how can you turn off Suspend in your deck? They left in Prismatic Ending? I guess that answers my Chalice of the Voids. Yeah, never mind. That's fine. I'm gonna Prismatic Ending this on turn 1, I think. We do need to draw lands at some point, so hope we do that. Kind of stinks that we have to fetch and shock, so now they can play Scourge, but that's definitely like the dynamic of this matchup. No painless untapped white sources. Scourge bad. Ragavan not so bad. We have Archmage's Charm. Yeah, that card I think is fine. Let me just hold up Counterspell here. We have 2 Archmage's Charms and 2 Counterspells. Yeah, I think just the ability to counter another threat this turn is really valuable, so I'm just gonna let this Thoughtseize resolve. Yeah, Chalice on 0, that's definitely true. Chalice on 0 is really good in a lot of matchups. Which is why I'm not playing like any Rest in Pieces in my sideboard. Well, I feel like that's a good card right now. Like our living in matchups just really, really good. We have 4 main deck Chalice, so I'm playing Sanctifier instead as my like graveyard hate. So I could counter this. I'm just floating the mana. Well, if this wasn't Delirious Fire Ice, would be a really insane draw. Pretty sure I'm stealing Ragavan. Life total is getting real low. Maybe I should be stealing Darcy. Darcy doesn't die like Kolagon's command. I won't have 4 types though. Okay, I'll just do Ragavan. Well, I will say that Darcy might be tough to answer. Still Darcy kill Ragavan? Well, they just want to attack with Ragavan. That's not how that works. Maybe my life total is just too low to take this line. But it's also true that if we take Darcy, we can't block Ragavan on future turns. Yeah, you can't stealing doesn't untap the creature. So if you wait for them to attack and you steal, they yeah, doesn't really work that well for you. Okay. Bad shape here, huh? I'm gonna ice their Scourge. Guess I'll just do it now. Alright. Glacial Fortress into Supreme Verdict would be pretty nutty. Have to chump. When you steal, so it doesn't have to attack. That's not the problem, right? Oh, sorry. When we steal, it doesn't have Delirium. I see. Yeah, you're right. The only thing yeah, maybe that was the better line. Counterspell is a bit better on the play to cut this Jace. Alright, let's submit this. We have so many good cards in this matchup with Chalice and Sanctifier. We have both in our opening hand. This hand is great. And we have like pretty perfect mana, and our opponent's multi-5. So I think we're going to be walking away from our first match with a W. Yeah, well, maybe I should be cutting the rip apart. So I actually think that's a good point. Could be bad in this matchup. You know, there's a good chance the Sanctifier exits the hand here. Turn 1 Ragavan. Pretty sure I'm supposed to play Sanctifier here. Three months, Benji, thank you for your resubscription. I do on the Saturday challenge. I finished 5 and 3. Had a good start. Wheels fell off a little bit. They take the explosives. Do I need to Prismatic Ending one of these? I don't really think so. They aren't doing very much at the moment. A deck tech for Red Winter. Maybe I should be playing this one on 0 actually, because they have baubles. Yeah, I should probably just play this Chalice on 0. Let me get to the deck tech in a second. Yeah, we just have plenty of time here. No rush. They didn't put Luris in their hand last turn. Twist Motrin, 2 months, welcome back. Jim Davis referred to you as the best modern streamer on my client to the degree. Well, I love Jim. Thank you, buddy. They can't beat Chalice on 1 and Chalice on 2. Well, we have plenty of 2-drops in our deck. They can beat it, probably. They probably have Kolagon's commands. We're gonna steal Ragavan into exile, Channeler with Prismo, start attack with Ragavan. Okay, Dragon Rage, burn Luris. Okay, cool. We've been talking about this a little bit. Yeah, I kind of feel like you just cut Eidolon, to be honest. Should I counter this or should I steal Ragavan? Should I just draw 2 into Supreme Verdict? All of our options are good here. You can't use Prismo. Yeah, you can. You just exit. You just spend 1 extra mana, or you just spend 2 mana. Yeah. I can Prismo. I'd counter. I mean, obviously these are the options. We just don't have that much going on if we counter. I guess that's still probably just fine. So I kind of feel like you're supposed to play 4 Channeler, 4 Guide, 4 Swift Spear, a sideboard the Eidolons has kind of been my thinking with how I would want to approach building this deck. And then you play like maybe the 4 helixes over those like 2 extra creatures. But obviously you have a lot of different options here. It's so funny how hard this deck cheats on Chalice of the Void. It says GG's. Yeah, our hand was really good. I want to know with a new brew on a Monday. Is Chalice 0 CMC when you play it for EE? Yeah, Chalice is 0 CMC, so plan accordingly. Keep this. Yeah, I think Flame Rift would be like, if you're ever a mono red burn deck, that's where Flame Rift probably shines. Monkey. Steal. Maybe Flame Rift and Red Black Scourge Shadow deck. I think that Doom said he tried that and didn't like it that much, but if it's gonna be good anywhere, I think that's where it'll be good. Another good Chalice of the Void matchup, by the way. Not that we have it in this game. Does Flame Scroll Celebrate have a place in the meta? Backside hits Cascade and Bring to Light. Front hits Living and Lantern Food. What does Flame Scroll Celebrant do? Probably should have got Steam Vents. Steal. Can you see one exclamation point card? Flame Scroll Celebrant. Bring to Light Valkyrie, provide a better fail case than Nahiri Emrakul. Yeah, could for sure. Definitely could. This is just kind of our like first like control shell with this idea, but we did play a Stoneblade. Oh wow, we did play a Stoneblade variant with Sanctum Prelate and the same idea earlier. How often do you turn 1 Triome in a deck like this? Pretty often. Let's go Celebrant. I guess the Silence effect is pretty good against the Cascade decks, but I'm not sure that I'm convinced it's a card you want to play, or like in what deck does it go in either. It's also going to be an interesting conversation. Opponent needs a creature or an artifact for Darcy. So they can maybe cast just a 1-mana creature into the Chalice to get Delirium. They're just getting their Surveil instead. They don't hit a creature. I'll block, I think I'll block Ragavan, but maybe not Darcy if they just attacked with Darcy. Another Chalice of the Void on top. I guess I'm just gonna play that on 0 because they play Bobble. Pretty afraid of Murktide Regent here. Could have also held this for Nahiri, but they play Bobble, so I think it's good to play on 0. Makobi, thank you for a Twitch Prime subscription. Hope you're having a good day. Yeah, Delver apparently is so bad. Should not have put Delver in this deck, huh? Why did I put Delver in this deck? Nahiri, Chalice, Delver. Man, Delver is also just, if you have Chalice on one, you can't cast it. Oh, awesome. Even my opponent has Force, but I feel like these decks don't... Can't remember if they play Force. They're just kind of all over the place. Well, decks felt good so far. Sanctifier is pretty good against Dragon Rage's Channeler. Also has some game against Murktide Regent, exiling like red cards from their yard. They also like can't really kill it. Blocks Ragavan. Think we probably want Sanctifier and Explosives. And then I don't think we want these Force of Negations or the Jace. The Nahiri seems okay. Cryptic can be a bit unwieldy. Just maybe just trim one of those. I think Rip Apart is good enough. Kind of scared against... Oh, we want the third Teferi too. I'm kind of scared about a turn 1 Ragavan. Kind of scared of a turn 1 Ragavan. Yeah, we have sideboard monkeys for decks that either don't have a lot of removal or are going to side out removal against us, which I don't think is this matchup, or where we want to side out a lot of our cards too. I think that's going to happen a decent amount. This hand's good. Being able to cast Prismatic Ending on turn 1 is, I think, really important in this matchup. Yeah, we have finally back to the blue spells, huh? The imposter who replaced me for like the last week is finally gone. But that imposter sure was winning a lot of games, huh? Can I talk about sideboard monkeys versus sideboard DRCs? Well, I think monkeys a bit better in our like the idea is if you're gonna board in a card that against decks with a very little removal, like the best card you could board in is Ragavan, where that card just dominates games where your opponent can't answer it. Darcy is like way more grindy and like kind of like a better, if that's your overall aggressive game plan. But Darcy is also great, you know. Paid actor! What the hell? Opponent, come on! Please, opponent, don't make it look so easy. Oh my gosh, what was that? Oh, we're still not drawing lands, but golly. Could just be flooding the yard for Murktide. Well, they could have responded to the Chalice and done a bit of a better job filling the graveyard for Murktide, right? They could have responded to that Chalice. Pretty sure I'm supposed to... Well, if I jam Teferi, then I don't have any way to deal with the Murktide region if they tap out for one, so maybe I should just Sanctifier. Which also helps a bit against Murktide. They have Counterspell. They're down to 3 cards in their hand. I like the results of this turn again. When did Black Red Mid-range become the most popular deck? When did that happen? When Aspiring Spike last Monday started playing with the deck. Let's rip apart here. Yeah, I popularized the deck after playing it like all week last week. I say that with complete humility, of course, as I always do. How does it feel to have so much control over the modern meta? Well, I don't know that I necessarily have control. It's like I have to build good decks, you know? People don't just play any deck that I build. Well, people play them, but they don't. It's like this like is a pretty big outlier where I feel like I found one of the best decks in the format, you know? I don't just do that every time. I just want to use my mana here. Yeah, I don't find the best deck in the format every single time or every single week, but I did think I found one of the best decks and very proud of it. See, are they gonna play just a 3/3 Murktide? Because they don't have any more instants or sorceries. They're not gonna do that. And now we get to Chalice on 1. If we counter this, we can't counter the Murktide, and I feel like we're just gonna die. I'm just gonna let this go. Yeah, people are playing the red-black deck because it's good. People are also innovating on it, and you know, I don't own the deck. Of course, nobody owns any deck. It's out there now, out there for people to, you know, pick up and tune and tweak for metagames. I'm really excited to see how what people do. Mitch ditch. I think mainly the Brainstones, ditching Luris, Jace, Teferi, and Baubles. Well, TSP Yendrick, that very good modern master, has been playing a lot of the deck you're describing. And yeah, we'll return to Miracles for sure. I do think that Miracles has a place in modern. All right, let's see what they reveal or don't reveal to Delver. We're gonna see your take on the Glimpse deck. I don't have a take on the Glimpse deck. They reveal Expressive Iteration. I don't really want that to resolve. Let me ice this. Dang it. All right, need to draw some gas. Yeah, I unsubbed from MTGO Premium, so no Luris, unfortunately. They exile Lightning Bolt, and they did not hit a land. They drew a Counterspell. All right, I'm gonna keep this in hand for Nahiri. All right, counter Darcy. They have 3 spells in their hand, I think, so not too excited about that. Any Grinding Breach? I don't know. I think Grinding Breach has kind of always been bad, to be honest. The card is just like that deck is like doesn't have a very fast clock, and that deck also folds to like every piece of hate in modern or interaction in modern. It's like the deck is weak to creature removal, artifact removal, graveyard hate, counter spells, discard spells, and it's just like it's not that resilient and it's not that fast, but it is a powerful deck. But when your combo deck is like every piece of interaction and it interacts with it, it's a big problem. Yeah, it's very into Counterspell, pretty good, huh? Pretty good off the top. Is Snapcaster Mage dead? No, I think Snapcaster Mage is good, but like in you know decks like this, we're playing a bunch of Chalices. Like this is not a good Snapcaster deck, but there are good Snapcaster decks that exist. You know, there are no sacred cows for archetypes, you know? It's like, you should not say, okay, I'm playing a blue deck, I need to play Snapcaster Mage. I'm playing a green deck, I need to play Tarmogoyf. I'm playing a black deck, I need to play Dark Confidant. That is not how you should approach deck building. I'm a bit worried about Ragavan, but I'm also a bit worried about them surveilling. I guess I'll just counter Ragavan. Yeah. And playing a card just because you like the card is fine. It's totally fine to say, I love Snapcaster Mage. I want to play with Snapcaster Mage in Modern. And there are good Snapcaster Mage decks. But if you are putting a card in your deck strictly because you like it, you just need to acknowledge that that's what you're doing, you know? You need to freely admit that's what you're doing and not put any like mental gymnastics saying, oh, Snapcaster Mage is actually the best card for this deck or the slot, because it's not always going to be. You just need to, you need to figure out if you're playing a card just because you like it, or if because you actually think it's the best. 2-0 with a new brew on Monday. Always feels very good. People are also like changing the sideboard a lot, which makes sense to change the sideboard since the metagame is evolving, right? And like having tech for the mirror seems to be really important. So just keep that in mind as well. That I don't think that the best, I'm gonna keep this against the Lurrus deck. I don't think that the best tech for the mirror has been figured out necessarily, but if you can figure out the best tech for the mirror, then you're gonna give yourself a really big edge for the tournament this weekend. It looks like we are playing against the Rakdos deck. 4 Rebuke for Counterspell and Breach plus some heats. I mean, I'm not sure how, like, that's also a problem when those decks, if you play too much interaction, you're diluting your combo, but that sounds like an interesting way to take it. A more like mid-rangey deck. Yeah, I think Bob is fine. I also don't think that you really need it. I think that you don't really run out of gas that often. I feel like you lose way more games to Mana Screwed than Mana Flood because of Darcy, but I also do think Bob is playable in the deck, and so there and in a deck like Red Black, there are a ton of options available to you. There are a lot of different ways you can approach building the deck, and it is going to be correct to change things over time. So I think that it's really important if you're going to pick up the Red Black deck to just keep an open mind, and be always wanting to reach that next level with your tech. Always be trying to innovate a little bit. I think that that's going to be really important if you're picking up the deck. Put Lurrus in their hand, just fine. Yeah, and with that said, always play 4 Ragavan. Yeah, play 4 Ragavan. It's also probably good to talk about, like, in these kind of decks, there is usually like a core that you're really not going to change very much. That core is like, Darcy, Ragavan, 6 discard spells, probably 7, maybe sometimes 6, maybe sometimes 8, 6 removal spells, maybe sometimes 7, maybe sometimes 8. Counter this. I feel like they must have just drawn this, but if I counter this, then they get to Lurrus it back. I think I'm just letting it go. Oh, it looks like they're playing Mardu with Castle, which maybe want to splash white. The baubles are like immutable. The first 2 Crocuses are like pretty like mandatory in my mind, but you might end up in some metagames wanting to play more. Maybe I should have ending first. Ultimate Nahiri to search Monkey, genius. So yeah, there's always going to be wiggle room with that deck. So just and it's also like important to, if you're trying to change things, make sure that you have like you believe in the reason that you're changing it. You won't always be right, but I do think that it's important to at least like to go with your gut. Does that make sense? It's like, I need to force this. And his Lurrus mystery card. I think it's important to like, really think about it, really try to evaluate, and really try to believe in the changes you're making. And if you do believe in them, try to prove that they're good, Right. So we're losing the Teferi to the Voidwalker, I think. There's Lurrus mystery card. Got to play your first paper tournament Saturday. Very good. Awesome. Very good low luck. It was a very low luck tournament, I see. That's fine. Just getting to play is probably a treat, Oh wait, oh no, sorry, the Voidwalker is not pro Nahiri. That's no, that's Torok is pro Nahiri. You think Scourge has a place as an option for Turok instead of Bob? I don't know. I don't really feel like you want to play Scourge. Like the deck is kind of has a lot of draws that are not super aggressive. But I'm also not playing Bob in the deck at the moment, so you're gonna castle maybe. Yeah, I'm not playing Bob in the deck at the moment, so Just evaluate that how you will. Yeah, Turok is like worst possible here. Inquisition is best possible though. Their hand is Luris, 2 mystery cards. That was one of them. It's pretty annoying that this can get a Teferi time Raveler, which is obviously one of the best cards against us. We just draw lands. Have one more look at a interactive piece here. Yeah, I think I just have to. I guess I could counter Teferi actually. Yeah, let's just do that. You want to play the Glacial Fortress? I'll hold it. Yeah, I could just counter Teferi. And then they get to go, but then they get to go Luris Voidwalker. Pretty good. Is this the first deck without a companion in a while? Yeah, a little while. I guess we go counter draw. Feels kind of bad. If we go bounce, they just get to Teferi. I mean, we're very close to just Emrakuling them. If they play Teferi, they might just get Emrakuled. No, Bloodbraid Marauder is bad. The more we think about the card, I think the worse it is. Where the problem with Bloodbraid Marauder is that that card is not going to be delirious on turn 2 with any degree of consistency. It's really, really rarely going to be turn 2 delirious, and a 2-mana creature that you just like straight up can't cast on turn 2 is not a card you want to put in your modern deck. There's now Luris mystery card. Darcy, pretty good mystery card. They're gonna hold Luris for value. They are. Prismatic Ending. Oh no, we drew the Emrakul. Yeah. Shoot. I think I'm just gonna end it against Teferi then. And then maybe end up going like minus on Nahiri. We'll see. They're gonna go Nahiri into Voidwalker, or sorry, Luris into Voidwalker, which is pretty good. They have Cryptic Command, which they can get off of it. They did lose Delirium. Let's see. We can steal Darcy. I guess let's go ahead and plus. Okay. Onto the Voidwalker. Rip apart Luris. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh no. Okay. Well, I guess we're gonna counter the Voidwalker. No, we can't counter Voidwalker. We're gonna steal Darcy, rip apart Voidwalker. Okay, we'll just pass for now. A funny punt for sure, but a punt to be sure. So they're gonna cast Croakster from the graveyard, then cast Voidwalker. Alright, I'm gonna steal Darcy. And maybe we get Emrakuled, huh? Maybe we get Emrakuled. That's funny at least, right? Really wanted them to attack with this. Maybe I should have let them attack. Okay. We get Emrakul, we lose. Sad. Funny way to lose. Yikes. I mean, I'm not even sure like really what we're supposed to do instead. I guess not that though. Not that. I'm gonna cut the rip aparts. Don't have enough removal. Play one. Our whole deck seems kind of good though. Maybe the explosives are just a bit too slow. I come down for that. So discard Nahiri, yeah, maybe. Probably was the place to start. Yeah, I just forgot about the Voidwalker. They can't cast. They can't cast Emrakul with Teferi in play. They can cast the spell till end of turn. Okay, keeping this. Any chance Betrayal seems sideboard play? Betrayal, inevitable betrayal. Yeah, maybe. I think it's a bit slow. But that card's not too bad. There's also the card Bribery exists in Modern and has really never seen any play. So you have to like kind of think about that a bit. Opponent's gonna know my hand exactly. Yeah, but you know, Bribery has never seen any amount of play, and so I'm not really feeling like inevitable betrayal is going to. So my opponent knows about the Fire Ice. They're not gonna like play into it by playing 2/1 drops. So I'll just ice their 1-drop, their land here. You don't really have many 2-for-1s when it comes to answer their threats. Rely on 1-for-1s a lot. Well, the idea is that the Chalice of the Voids are going to be like are 2-for-1s, right? And then, but it is possible we could be playing more sweepers. But the idea, at least that I was having, is that the Chalices are going to be where we generate our card advantage in this matchup, at least game 1. Yeah, Fire Ice has been really impressive to me. Dash Ragavan. Ignore Teferi. So we can maybe rip apart that or just counterspell next turn. They exile Scalding Tarn to the monkey. Right, was a staple jeskai Nahiri deck, so that was the best deck at the meta. I don't even think that was true. I mean, I know that I remember I bought a treachery, or I bought a bribery for like the sideboard for FNM against like the Titan decks and against Tron because they used to like main deck Emrakul, and I remember the card not being that good. Or should I destroy the treasure token instead? I don't know. I mean, that was a long time ago, right? A long time ago. But I just don't even feel like it's that good against Titan, and because it's like so hard to spend 5 mana or ever to tap out against Titan with these kind of decks. It's very difficult. Inquisition, please. 3 mana. One of them is white. Yeah, I guess we haven't seen what the white splash is for. They get Ragavan back. Feels kind of bad. What's the concept behind this deck? That Chalice of the Void is very good in the modern metagame, and you can play Chalice of the Void in your blue-based control deck if you choose to have Prismatic Ending as your 1 mana removal spell of choice. I'm just gonna plus, hold up the verdict here. Any chance of a post-image 2 Soulcat deck soonish? Yeah, I've played some already, not too much. I think I'm gonna wait until the end of turn to the verdicts. Wait, they know about my verdict though, so they're not gonna play into it. Never mind. We just have to Teferi to bounce a creature too. Why didn't you hear you play instead of JTMS? Well, we're mostly just kind of seeing how. So like one thing is like there's so many red decks, right? And Jace is like less good against like the red based metagame, but Nahiri has a ton of loyalty. Is just the thought there, you know? And that could be, you know, not correct. Yeah. Oh, dude, Sanctifier is so good, dude. What a sick couple of rips. The idea is being like Nahiri has a ton of loyalty, and Nahiri also exiles Urza Saga, and Ice makes Nahiri better than it was because you can tap a permanent then exile it with Nahiri. She did once already. So it's kind of like a combination of all of these ideas. Sanctifier very good against Kroxa. Yeah, Chalice 1 does stop Dash Ragavan. You have to answer the Bob, probably. Okay, well, Chalice and 2 stops some of our stuff, but we know that they have Bob in their hand, so we can also maybe Teferi Bouncer on Chalice. Guess if they put Luris, it's kind of bad for us. Yeah. Chalice for 1 and 2 is GG against them. I don't know. They have Kolaghan's Command. I might end up bouncing my own Chalice, play it on 0. The Sanctifier is very, very good against Dragon Rage's Channeler. Alright, great draw. Might tuck Luris. They can't really kill my Teferi. Gonna hold the Reflecting Pool for Nahiri. I guess if they have Kolaghan's Command, it's, you know, disgusting, but whatever. We're not calling her Darcy anymore. I'm just not very in control of my mind, I guess. Bolt Step Bolts, hidden monthly subscription. Thanks, buddy. Welcome back. It's a long time. Don't really have control over my cognitive functions, I suppose. I'm gonna draw. I'm gonna cut the 4th counterspell for the 2nd Rip Apart. No, I don't think they shuffled away Luris. I think they shuffled before they the ability resolved, right? Stream Decker's only showing 58. Man, Stream Decker's been so off lately. It should be 1 Supreme Verdict and then 1 Jace the Mind Sculptor. I guess I can see if it'll let me add those. Don't have double whites, but I think we keep this. Kind of scared of turn 1 Monkey. Turn 1 Darcy is better for us, especially because Sanctifier will be good against it if we can draw our 2nd white source. So they kind of have a hard choice between Rip Apart and Survey. Yeah, I guess they just have to take Sanctifier if they mill over Croxy here. The Shark Typhoon now unplayable. I don't think it's unplayable. I just don't think it's very well positioned against these red decks. There are no sacred sharks, you know. You have to always be trying to innovate, and like especially in these control decks, you just can't play the same cards over and over again. Expect them to continue to be good if a metagame is evolving. We would have drawn the white source. I guess I should have maybe held that to not show them that I drew the white source. But another Sanctifier. I mean, Sanctifier would be just if we were able to keep it in our hand. Feels like it's just game winning against the Croaks of double Darcy draw. They don't have a 3rd land. Kind of seems like they don't. This is gonna kill us pretty quick if we don't draw an answer. Here, looking better than Jace here. They know about these counterspells, right? Or they know about the first counterspell, so I don't really feel like my opponent's gonna be jamming into them. Steal. How does it feel to innovate a seemingly good tier 1 deck? Really good. I mean, that's, you know, my entire career, I guess, is trying to do exactly that. And so when it feels like we build a good deck, I'm always really, really happy about it. I'm gonna steal on their turn to play around Dash Ragavan. But we always want to keep moving forward, right? Don't want to just play the same decks over and over and over again. Always got to move forward. Keep trying to find the best new deck. go play the island, I think. What is the best deck now? I mean, the red-black deck that I've been playing a lot of, I think is very good. I also think there's a lot of room for like innovation on the deck. See our opponents like splashing white for maybe Prismatic Ending. I don't know if we've actually seen the white card yet. Maybe it's just like for explosives. But there's like really a lot of room for innovation in the red-black deck, but I think it's the best deck in the format. Need to draw another answer. That is not an answer to Voidwalker. Can't block it either. Oh, I should have attacked first. Oops. So now we're definitely not racing. Forgot that that was a symmetrical effect. It is true that if we get to counterspell something, we get to surveil. My opponent's just not going to let me do that, it seems. It's a Cryptic Command, I can't believe it. Oh, I should have attacked anyways. Right. I forgot the Voidwalker couldn't block. They could guess the Jace off the Voidwalker, but they're just gonna try to kill me. So we're dead to Bolt now. How many bolts have they cast? 2 already. Although, yeah, this is fine. It's like we either are countering the Voidwalker or the Jace. Ideally we counter the Voidwalker instead because it's like unblockable, but let's counter the Jace instead. Why not counter this? I'm gonna if I use counterspell on this, then they just get, if I use counterspell and I bounce this, they just replay Voidwalker and we can't, like, we might not be able to deal with it, right? So if I go counter bounce, or if I go bounce draw, then we can counter the Voidwalker on the way down and not die to their unblockable creature, right? We just need to deal with the Voidwalker. I kind of like bounce draw. Yeah, I think that it's like, I feel like counterspell is better than the average draw just going forward, so I think I like this line. And we die to a burn spell. We also die to Ragavan, so we're probably dead. I mean, I guess we could just let Jace go. But then they bounce their Darcy, get to replay Darcy. Yeah, never mind. Best movies, thank you for your tier 1. Yes, you're really hard to beat, like, the Thoughtseize plus something here. It was like Kolagon's command to kill me. Bummer. Good match, though. So we could have won if we tap counter. No, they would just second cast Jace. Would bounce draw, fizzle, or cryptic? Yeah, it would. So yeah, definitely punting game 1 didn't help, but that's okay. Keep this on the draw. I think I'm gonna put back Verdict. This is not a flexing stream beta. So it looks like the blue-red Prowess deck. And Chalice is very good against them. Yeah, 4th good Chalice matchup in a row makes me feel really good about this, like, deck decision, right? 4th good Chalice matchup in a row. I'll just blue-red Prowess. Might die to Stormwing. Do our best not to. But Prismatic Ending, not super good against this card, but we can Nahiri to exile it if we can get up to 4 mana. I don't think that we could have gotten game 1 easily of that Mardu matchup. I feel like that's revisionist history to say, oh, they played their land before iteration? Yikes. I feel like it's very much revisionist history to say we were like favored to win game 1 without that punt. Exile Swift Spear, which gets countered by Chalice. So they just play Dart instead to trigger Prowess. Would love to draw a land to go ice this, draw another land, exile this. Bummer. Still need to draw one more land. Prelate dies more easily. Well, if you name Prelate on one, it doesn't die that easy. But we were playing like a banned, you know, Stoneblade deck with a very similar idea as this one. Only 3 damage? Weird. Right, big draw step. Okay, I'll take it. It's kind of time walk. Path is better in this case. No, Path is worse than Prismatic Ending in this specific board state. Do you have any thoughts on why Path would be worse than Prismatic Ending here? I'll give you one guess. No, not mana. It's not it. Completely stumped. There's a Chalice on 1 in play, so if we had Path to Exile, it would get countered. Now, I know it's not your fault. Every Twitch chatter, whenever they're born, they're born with a condition that just when they look at a Chalice of the Void, it's just completely blank. And it's also the same thing with Teferi Time Raveler and what's the other one? There's one more card that Twitch chat just can't read. It's just a genetic condition as consequence for being born a Twitch chatter. Is it Herboy? It's Cavern of Souls. Yeah, it's Cavern of Souls, Teferi Time Raveler, Chalice. You just if you're born a Twitch chatter, you just look at a card and you say, that doesn't look like anything to me. Which is fine, you know? It's not your fault. Oh yeah, maybe Narset too. Yeah, that also might. I mean, I wouldn't know. I'm not a Twitch chatter. I'm just gonna tuck this. It's kind of nice that these decks are also just not playing Sprite Dragon usually, or at least the stock lists aren't. Which is good for us. Jeff, thanks for the subscription. Appreciate you. Oh, you're gifting a subscription. Thanks, buddy. We can play this on 0 to turn off Baubles, but I think I'll just discard it. Well, we're going to use the only good mode on Jace the Mind Sculptor, +2. Yeah, Dashing Ragavan does get countered. Chalice on 5 for Stormwing. Yeah, maybe. It is cool to play this deck and play against 4 good matchups for Chalice of the Void in a row. It makes me feel smart, huh? Oh, whoops, whatever. It doesn't matter. This game's over. I don't need to think. How do you Sideboard deal with Amulet Titan matchup with the Rakdos deck? I bring in the Unholy Heat and the Alpine Moons and like 1 or 2 Shattering Spree. And I cut my Lightning Bolts and some other cards. I usually chim the 4th Inquisition on the draw. It's got like the general idea. Okay, gonna bring in the Sanctifiers, the Explosives. You just bring in Sanctifier against any Darcy deck. Although RX Champion is, I mean, I keep saying that you don't compare the 2 cards, but maybe you should compare them. This card is just so good against Darcy. It's more so for like the Rakdos mid-range deck against like the Croxas and Dredge, of course. Okay, so what's bad? Jace is bad. Force of Negation is maybe a bit better to like protect Chalice. I think I'm still gonna cut them. Fire Ice seems like not that good in this matchup. Actually, this doesn't really kill anything. Could play the first Force, could play the first Fire Ice. You got like Jace or Teferi bouncing. Stormwing is usually pretty good, and they bring in some counter spells. Play this on the draw. What decks are the Ragavan? I mean, you bring in Ragavan against Titan, against Tron, against control decks, against combo decks. Just like any deck that's not like a Chalice of the Void matchup. You like, I think are gonna cut most of your Chalices for Ragavans is the idea. Thoughts on Helix versus Fire Ice? Is that permanent and matchup upsides? I mean, so like this deck, because it's like, you know, this Chalice of the Void deck already has like a lot of dead cards. I think I'm gonna mulligan this. It's way better. Put back Counterspell. So like the idea, right, is that Fire Ice also powers up Nahiri a bit. Fire Ice has been impressive, but if you play like a lot of Helixes and Rip Aparts and Prismatic Endings and Chalices, you are just gonna have too many dead cards in matchups that are not about these kind of things, right? Like if you, it's just too many like interact with creature cards, and then like against non-creature decks, you just can't win. Is Titan not a Chalice matchup? It's not a 4 of Chalice matchup. I think that against Titan, I'm usually looking to play like 2 Chalices probably. It's also true that like you have other like Rip Apart is, I guess Rip Apart is actually good against Titan now that they play Saga. But it's, you don't want 4 Chalices against Titan. You want like 2 probably. The card's just not that good. Could to exile the dart if they don't want to cast it now, which is nice. There's no way they sack the dart. Yeah, it's not that I'm more likely to Chalice on 0 versus Titan. It's that's the only number you'll choose against Titan is 0. That's the only number, but because of that, you don't want 4 Chalices. They have 2 cards in their hand, but they get to refill with Iteration and the Bauble. Point being that it doesn't hurt Ragavan. Sure. I don't think that we're arguing. I don't think that we're arguing. I think we're on this exact same page about Chalice. They exile on Holy Heat, so they bricked on their Iteration, which is good for us. You were trying to argue? I see. Okay, cool. Maybe that's just me traumatized from Twitch chat trying to debate me on every single point. Let's try to counter the Stormwing instead of the Manamorphose. Why are they casting this dart now? Feels like it's for almost no value. Just 1 mana. Just Sanctifier makes dart way less terrifying. What is happening? What is this line that they've taken? I don't know. I'm gonna sack explosives. Just use my mana. Nilzer, thank you for your Twitch Prime. Appreciate you. I'd argue that Twitch chat never argues with me. Yeah, maybe you're right. They could have Wild Slash, or I could counter Wild Slash, but you're right. That could be like why they would have taken that line. Splashing Black for Kess. Yeah, Kess very good. Dear chatter, your pet card is very good, and you're smart for wanting to include it. Steal. I mean, maybe we should just leave this back. I feel like getting in 2 damage doesn't matter that much. Being able to block a second Swift Spear would be so nice, just so I just don't have to tap out. Nice. Rewarded. Shockingly, going down to 6 feels like how to lose this game. So I'm just gonna play this tapped and hold up interaction for this turn. Yeah, it really feels like that's how we lose. We shock and just die to 2 bolts. I'm gonna draw 2. I don't think I really care that much about Swift Spear. Be kind of nice too if they just counter this so we can slam Nahiri. Yeah. I don't even think I need to discard anything here. Because next turn I can go like rip apart a creature plus hold up Counterspell, which is good if they play a second creature. Just set up for the Emrakul. Iteration's a very good card. And if they do have, you know, spell into Wild Splash, they can get something going. If they attack, they definitely have Wild Slash, but we also just have to block. It's kind of fine. We could just deal with this with Spear and just be super ahead. MTG is pay to win? No, I think that's a pretty common misconception. MTG is not pay to win. MTG is pay to play. Yeah, I would argue that MTG is pay to compete. What's worse, pay to win or pay to play? Pay to win is worse because it just doesn't make the game's not any good, right? If someone can just pay more money than somebody else to win the game's not interesting. Neither are good. Like, you know, neither is a great model, but it's games are not interesting if one person can just spend more money and win. But when when you are playing like at the highest levels of Magic, everybody has access to the cards. Like people are just playing with their deck they think is the best. They're playing with the exact 75 cards they think are the best. There's no, it's not like they can spend more money to upgrade their lightning bolts to deal 4 damage. I'll try to counter this. Yeah, Jun's a great example of like a deck that was like, you know, very, very expensive for a long time, like $1,000 plus, and not very good at all. The best player ever can afford the cards will never win. Yeah, that's paid to compete, right? It's like you have to, you know, you have to pay to compete. You have to like pay to get the cards. But at a like in tournament play, in high level tournament play, everybody like at day 2 of a GP for the most part is playing the exact 75 that they would play if they had access to every card in Magic. And that's, you know, due to borrowing cards or, you know, trading for them, however they got them. At high level Magic, it's pay to win is not a thing. Everybody is playing the best cards that they can, you know? Like I could give you $2,000 and it's not like you're going to be able to build any deck that's stronger than anything existing in the current metagame, you know. And then it's also true like these like the most expensive decks often like even lose to some of the cheapest decks, which is funny. All right, Chalice won against the Bloodstained Mire, but no Luris. They're not the Rectus deck. I'm playing someone who's 0-1. Yeah, maybe they changed the algorithm back. What is this? Is this the Domain Zoo? Emer. Oh, this is the Polymorph deck. This is the Polymorph deck. Chalice not very good against them. Probably just dead. So we're gonna Chalice on 2? Probably not. Our draw definitely not very good against theirs. You would Chalice for 0? And what would Chalice for 0 counter against their deck, huh? Maybe Cascade. It's not Cascade. It's definitely Velomachus. If they're playing Bloodstained Mire, Steam Vins get your Triumph. If they're playing only red fetches, it's definitely Velomachus Polymorph. And they're also not Cascade because they have Explorer in their deck. They're not a Cascade deck. Yeah, they should have held that. I don't know. Their draw's obviously not very good either. Weird game. But now I'm getting to bait them into committing into my They make a treasure instead of looting. I kind of thought that their hand was bad. They probably have Valamakus in their hand, right? They're just gonna hard cast. If they brick, we could Verdict and maybe win. This is definitely a matchup to bring in Ragavan. Readable magic card, written in 6. Yeah, their deck is very good. Or good, maybe. Very good might be a bit much. Get to bring in the monkeys, get to bring in Teferi, cut the rip aparts, cut the chalices. We could maybe play a chalice, but I think I'm not that into it. Oh, Alpine Moon good against Dwarven Mine. Probably want to be going down like 2 endings. This looks pretty good. Matchup's way better post board. I know that they can use treasures instead of dwarves, but it's like the only way they can make treasures is Prismatic Command, right? And so we can counter Prismatic Command or counter the thing. But Alpine Moon shutting off Dwarven Mine is very good against them, I think. I've been happy with the card in the matchup. It's not, you know, literally 1 mana win the game, though. Yeah, Alpine Moon is, I think, at an all-time high in Modern at the moment. I've been so happy with the card. Less good here. Alright, I have to keep this. They generally run Prismatic Ending. Yes, opponent can have answers to your sideboard cards. It's not 1 mana win the game. They also like won't definitely have ending in against me. Game 2 at least. I'm sorry, I feel like I actually maybe I just need to stop this. I feel like I just like have been conditioned to feel like chat is always trying to debate me. When like in situations like this, it's just almost definitely not the case. I think I need to take a vacation. I feel like chat is like, you know, I just conditioned like chat's always trying to debate me when just like thinking about the comments for a second. They're just kind of like elaborating on the matchup, you know, I think. Okay, it's very good against them. If it resolves. It does resolve. I'm gonna plus. They can attack Teferi with the Valamakus if they have it, but plussing is good against Rin and 6. But I guess they would have played one if they had one last turn. Good against Prismatic Ending too. That might have been like a game losing line. Yeah, that might have been a game losing line to just not draw a card, try to cast a 4 mana spell here. But again, it was bad against Prismatic Command, bad against Rin and 6. Tough call to make. I think I'm gonna go Jace minus on the Dwarf token. Go Nahiri plus. Hold up Cryptic. Like Jace minus. Might get countered, but I didn't have a counterspell for my Teferi. It's like if we brainstorm Jace is still going to 2 loyalty. Ugh, I hate Veil Summer so much. Just hate this card. Time warp to kill the Jace. If I was gonna go to a large GP this weekend, what deck would I take? The Rakdos deck, because I have trophied now 6 out of the last 7 leagues I've played with it. And I think the deck is very good. Alright, Nahiri, you gotta save us here. I minus on this dwarf. Through that, I think. I see that the errata veil is somewhere to be 2 mana, and for I did not see that. That's kind of an interesting design space for some like arena tournaments to errata some cards. Not really sure how I feel about it, but ultimately I'm always just the most interested in having gameplay for Magic be as good as it possibly can be. And it sounds like that's what it might do. Yeah, we're just not countering spells this game, I think. They should play the 4th Dwarven Mine, right? Base Smith, 11 months. 1K viewers hype. Thanks, buddy. Do you guys still think the Phoenix deck has legs? Yeah, I do. I think Phoenix deck has a lot of legs. Although I think it has recently gotten worse because people are going to be playing more Sanctifiers to beat up on the Rakdos deck. And Sanctifier is a card that's like impossible to beat, so there's that small problem. But if you don't feel like there's gonna be a lot of graveyard hate, I think that's when you play Phoenix over Blue-Red Prowess. And if you do think there is, then you're gonna end up, I think, playing they have Prismatic Ending for 4. Gross. Yeah, if you're expecting more graveyard hate, play Blue-Red. If you're expecting less, play Phoenix, I think. Hunter, 15 months, welcome back, appreciate you. Alright, well. One hasn't killed me yet. They also made Teferi 4 mana, Field of the Dead legendary, Earl doesn't explore, Omnath doesn't draw a card. Yeah, Omnath not drawing a card is just like exactly what it needed to be. A little short of casting that Emrakul. Okay, 3-2 the first league with this deck. I'm gonna run it back. I still think I'm needing to form my opinions on it.